Yes.
We're ready. Let's get it.
All right.
That's the word. That's the word. He did say that.
You did, didn't
He did say that.
Oh, he did? You caught it?
What'd I say?
He
he?
did.
He said something like, press up the top of it.
I did?
I didn't hear
It
it.
sounded like more consonants than vowels. That's all.
Hey, Facebook, didn't even know you were there. How you doing, everyone? My name is Sergeant First Class Jason Jenkins. I'm the 2016 Secretary of the Army, Army Reserve Career Counselor of the Year. I'm currently serving with the 3rd Battalion, Army Reserve Career Divisions out of Fort Story, Virginia Beach. And I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. 16 years in the Army, one of the greatest things is meeting different people from all different parts of this great land. Like I said, coming from the concrete jungle, meeting people from as far west as California, south is down in Georgia, Texas, or even in the Midwest. Those are some of the opportunities that I was able to experience being an Army Reserve soldier. Didn't come out of the womb as a soldier. Prior to becoming a career counselor, I actually joined as what's known now as a computer detection repair. So pretty much anything that you use to fix electronics, mechanics, things of that nature, the Army trained me on how to fix. But there's various opportunities that I've been able to experience, and one of those has been travel. Wouldn't exchange it for the world.
Awesome. Hey, Facebook, I'm Sergeant First Class Josh Moeller, originally from Riverside, California, currently serving as a travel coordinator for the Sergeant Major of the Army. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I started out in aviation as a 15 Juliet, which is now a different MOS altogether, but 15 Juliet was aviation armament and electronics repair for helicopters. Then I became a 19 Delta, which is cavalry scout, and loved that about 7 years in, and then eventually volunteered to become a drill sergeant. This past year, I was named the Army's 2016 NCO of the Year, Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year, and that got me in an assignment to the Pentagon. Like Sergeant over here, I've been doing this for 16 years and loved every minute of it, traveling nationwide, worldwide, meeting all kinds of people, and it's been a fantastic ride. So looking forward to your questions.
Good afternoon, Facebook. My name is Sergeant First Class Marcus Henry. Sitting here with a couple of prestigious soldiers next to me, but I'm going to say my little spiel in peace. I am a 79 Romeo, which is a Army recruiter. I've been in the Army for 16 years. I'm stationed right here in San Antonio, and I've been a part of the Army my whole life. My dad did 24 years and retired as a Sergeant Major, pretty much following suit the same way he going about why he did business. But I'm doing mine a little bit differently. I did active duty for 8 years, joined the Army Reserve for 3 years, been on COEOS tours, and now I'm an AGR recruiter. My goal and passion is recruiting. It shows in my work, and at the same time, this is my way of giving back and also being a mentor for those who actually want to join. My purpose here is to help, serve, and protect, and if you're willing to join and want to be a part of this great team, this is what we're here for. Come see me.
Hey guys, I'm Drill Sergeant Ryan Moldovan. I grew up in North Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame there in Canton, Ohio. I joined the Army in 2004. I've done everything from a field artillery soldier to an engineer soldier and military policeman. I've done just about everything you can imagine in the Army, traveled all over the world. It's been a great experience for me. I joined the Army because it's my passion, it's what I love to do, and I've loved every minute of it since I've done that. This year, 2016, I was named the Drill Sergeant of the Year for the Army Reserve. There was a lot of work that went into that. Actually, me and my battle over there kind of competed against each other in different categories, but back at the 108 Training Command competition in March, we compared our skills, and we both came out on top, so it's been great. On the civilian side, I work for UPS. I've done all kinds of things on the civilian side. I've been a sheriff's deputy, but right now I work for UPS back at home in North Canton. The whole reason that we're here is we're going to field your questions, any questions that you have. If you watched our promotion yesterday, then you know that we've been waiting patiently for your questions all night.
No sleep.
Don't pay any attention to the fact that the background has changed and that we added Sergeant Henry. Pay no attention to that because we've been waiting for your questions. We're also here because we are here representing the Army as soldier mentors at the 2017 Army All-American Bowl. It's going to showcase the best talent from around the country, the best football players in the country, high school football players, and the best marching band musicians from around the country. We are here to basically just give them a positive role model. We're spending time with them, just kind of sending them off, you know, their last hurrah before they go off to college and everything, and we're loving every minute of it. So, do we have any questions coming in?
Yeah, they're starting to roll in as we speak.
All right.
So we see that you're really engaged with us. So a couple of shout outs. We really appreciate Ruth from Germany. Wow, across the ocean. Love that you're tuning in. I want to give a shout out to Angel from Riverside. Thanks for joining us as well.
Riverside, son. Hometown on the line, right on.
So one of the first questions, and it's kind of funny, we get these type of questions all the time, not just to recruiters, but everyone is, can you use your cell phone in basic training? So
I'll start that and he can finish it.
Yeah, get that
All right,
material.
I'm gonna start this one right now. Yes and no, and I'm gonna tell you right now what that means.
No, don't even bring it. Yes, you can use your cell phone when you first get there. You can call home and let your parents know that you're fine, that you made it there safe, and you can make periodic calls home. It depends on the unit that you're assigned to. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, not meeting your requirements, whatnot, then you won't make a cell phone call. But yeah, you'll have access to it.
all right. So we have another question here. We have Brandon from Instagram. Brandon's question is, do we have any advice for basic training?
Oh yeah. Plenty of advice. Between the two of us, we'll field this question again. But you know, first of all, you're going to need to get in the gym, and I know you know, Drill Sergeant Moldovan over there is a mountain of a man. He's going to want to touch on that one pretty hard. But what I would say is your recruiters are going to be a wealth of information for a lot of things they're going to be looking for at the very beginning. So things like learning your general orders, learning the ranks maybe before you get there. If you can figure out, you know, how those are all stacked on top of each other. You know, learning the phonetic alphabet. Some of those things that'll just make your transition a little bit faster. You kind of have an idea of what you're getting into. But Drill Sergeant Moldovan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just make sure you come physically fit. We can teach you a lot of things. You can prepare and learn general orders and learn the soldier's creed and stuff like that to prepare yourself. We'll teach you those things, but you need to come physically fit. You need to have a foundation of fitness. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of questions about how you can go about that. But there's so many resources for you out there now. Now, you can't trust everything you see on the internet, but there's a lot of good qualified people that have YouTube channels, and they run all kinds of programs, and there's free stuff you can get anywhere. But you know, when you come to basic training, you're going to have to do push-ups, you're going to have to do sit-ups, you're going to have to run, you're going to have to do pull-ups, you're going to have to do an obstacle course. I mean, these things, it's not rocket science. Make sure that you're ready for that kind of stuff. You have to have a foundation of fitness.
So we've been talking a lot about, you know, basic training right in the beginning, but a really good question from John Eller. He wants to know, what do I have to do to actually enlist? So I'm going to give it here to our great recruiter, see how he can answer this.
There you go.
All right, John. First and foremost, the best advice that I can give you is to have some understanding of what you want to do. From that standpoint, you do understand there's 4 major qualifications that you must have to actually join. First thing is passing the ASVAB. This test is long, it's tough, but at the same time, this gives us an understanding of what your skill sets are. The next thing we need to do is make sure that you got your high school diploma. That's very important. Do not walk away from school without getting your high school diploma. You're going to need that. It's going to help you out in life. Don't let nobody else tell you anything different. The next thing that we're going to look at is your medical history. It's very important that we need to know exactly what's going on with you, because the simple fact that we don't want to send you nowhere, basic training or elsewhere, and get hurt. You have parents that love you and care for you, but at the same time, we need to know this information, and if you're qualified for it, we'll move on from the next standpoint. And the last and most important thing is your law violations and history. If you have anything in regards to things that happened when you was a minor, things, or you had a probation officer, these things that we need to know, because some of that stuff we can actually get beyond and have waivers for, but at the same time, some things we do have morals and guidelines that we have to stand by too. So those are the 4 major components that you need to actually do to get into the Army.
All right, so one of the answers that we just heard was the ASVAB, and we have a tendency of speaking our jargon a lot of the time. So just to break down what ASVAB is, it's the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. So it's very similar to, say, the SAT or the ACT, which I'm sure a lot of us know what that is. So when we're practicing or studying for that, think of it as like we're taking the SAT or the ACT. All right, so we have another question with qualifications. So Brandon is asking, what is the age cutoff for enlistment for prior service individuals? So prior service individuals, those that have already served in the military in some capacity and they got out of the military, they want to be able to come back in. Is there an age cutoff for them?
Yes, I'll take that. So you know the standard age is being at least the age of 17, and the cutoff is 35. But if you've been a prior service soldier, what you can do is, you know the age is 35, all you have to do is minus how many years you actually served, and that's going to give you your actual Army age. So if, say for instance, if you're 40 years old and you served 7 years into the reserves, you take your age, you minus the 7 years, and it'll put you at 33. So then you'll still be eligible to actually join.
All right. So we have one of these unique type of questions that just came to us, and it's the MAVNI program. And I'm just going to let everyone know that the MAVNI program, M-A-N-V-I, it's one of those specialized programs where to get the best information, you want to go to www.goarmy.com and actually search for a recruiter and make sure that you select MAVNI program. This is going to have that special recruiter make contact with you and explain how that program is all about. But to answer your question, yes, it is still available. So we have a couple of questions with MOSs, and just going to take a little pause here. You hear that we all have different types of MOSs, 19 Delta, 79 Romeo. Drill Sergeant, can you remind us what your MOS is?
31 Bravo, 12 Charlie, and 13 Echo, now 13 Delta.
All right, so we hear all of these different numbers, and again, if we go onto goarmy.com, we can see what those different numbers mean with these different MOSs. But I bring this all up because the question we just had was what MOS has to deal with being a combat medic, and that one is 68 Whiskey. So just going onto the website, you'll get a list of all the MOSs, see what it's like. It'll give you a brief description of what each one entails, and it would actually help you make a decision as to which one might be a best fit for you.
Can I add on to that?
Yes.
So when new soldiers come to us, they have a lot of questions about their job. Our job, when you first get to basic training, is not to really train you on your specific job when you go to advanced individual training. But one of the things you can do to help yourself is go to that website like Sergeant was talking about and actually look at all the different jobs you can do. It actually talks about what your requirements are. Some things, if you're red, green, colorblind, etc., that you can do that you couldn't do, and find one that you think that you would like to do, because a lot of soldiers come to us, they chose a job, and then they said, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be, how do I change it? Well, you got to get through training first before you can change your job, but you know, you want to make sure you're doing what you want to do before you even come, because you'll just feel better about it. You'll be going to the place you want to go.
And nowadays, the easy way to find out information in regards to your job is going to YouTube. YouTube is a great resource in regards to finding your job at MOS. You're typing your number, the actual abbreviation for the job. Type in, once you put the information in, you're going to see a video that'll pop up for it. It's usually between 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes long, and they give you a brief description on what your job actually is and how it actually converts over into the civilian sector. So that's a good source of information too, but at the same time, if you want further details and more information, always come talk to us. We're ready for you.
Right, so we heard a lot about qualifications, and Gardner Skiff, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly, is asking the question, do you need to have 20/20 vision to join? Right now, I'm blind as a bat, so it's about 2,400. However, I'm in the uniform. So to answer your question, you don't necessarily have to be 20/20, but it has to be correctable. Okay, it has to be correctable, and that's where the glasses come into play. There are certain military occupational specialties that do require you to have a certain vision capability, capability. So, generally speaking, 2020, no. But if it deals with a certain specialty, perhaps. But this is more things that your local recruiter, will be able to help answer as well. Is there anything I'm missing with that?
Oh, no, you're good. You did a good job.
All right. All right, so we're just going to continue fielding some of the questions here. We got Joshua Rodriguez, and his question is, what is the best way to prepare for Ranger training? We get a lot of option 40s that people are interested in. He's really interested in the 75th Regiment. So I know that we get a lot of prospects that are interested in becoming a Ranger. Do you want to tackle on how they can go about training for that, or preparing or qualifying for it?
You start off. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you do understand when you choose this particular job or MOS that it's going to be mentally and physically demanding. So do not, I repeat, do not pick and choose something that you really don't know nothing about or you're not ready for. So when it comes to Rangers training, think about the job that you're doing. You need to take yourself and push it to a whole nother level. Because what you're trying to do is, hey, I beat out those who are around me, and at the same time, I should be a part of the select group that's going to actually qualify for this particular job. There's a lot of stiff competition out there, men and women, so really understand what the job is asking of you and requiring. So I'm going to pass the drill in regards to that gym situation because you're really going to need this.
So before talking a little bit about Ranger School, let me just say that I am not a Ranger, nor have I been to Ranger School, but I've trained with a lot of them, went to drill sergeant school with Rangers. They're good friends of mine. They're just on another level, you know. They're on another level physically, and it's not just physically tough. You need, like I said, that foundation of fitness. You need to crank it up a few more notches. Like if you want to feel comfortable going to any of these specialty schools like Ranger School, you should be able to do 80 to 100 push-ups in 2 minutes. I mean, that you would feel a little more comfortable, 80 to 100 sit-ups in 2 minutes, you know, and be able to run a competitive 2-mile time, which would be, you know, between 13, 14-minute 2-mile would be good, if not even faster, if you want to be super successful. Now, Ranger School is not, like I said, not just physically tough, but mentally tough. They put restrictions on you like you would get in combat. Okay, so if you're in combat, you may not have food available to you 24/7. You may not have sleep available to you 24/7. Therefore, they put those stressors on you so that when you go into combat, you're not surprised. So you're only going to get a limited amount of sleep a night, and I believe it's somewhere 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night in some sections of Ranger School. And you're going to get a limited amount of food too. Guys that go in there that are weighing 220, 230 pounds, they may lose 20 or 30 pounds by the end of it, just from, you know, the stressors that they put on you. It's not meant to hurt you or to injure you or anything like that. It's just meant to prepare you for the type of combat that Rangers could go through. Now that being said, like I said, they're the best. So if you think you can do it, I recommend it. I mean, I would like to do it myself. So it's a great program, and just you have to be mentally and physically prepared for it. You got anything else, Drill Sergeant Muller?
No, you got it. You covered it.
Okay.
You said everything I was going to say.
So it was an excellent question, but just to put some things into perspective, I know some people are hearing and they're saying all this, they're hearing all of this war stuff, which is really good, but understand that being a Ranger means that you're considered part of our elite. So many of us have heard the term basic training, and it's just that. It's acquiring the basic skills to be a soldier. Going beyond that is where Ranger training or Special Forces comes into play. So I just want to add that becoming a soldier, we're just going to arm you with the basics, and as you continue through your military career, you will gain more and more experience, become more and more capable, things of that nature. Okay? Really good question just popped up. How long do I have to sign up for? And I'll tackle this one. Everyone that joins the Army has what's called a military service obligation, and it is 8 years. Now, everyone does their 8 years a little differently. Some typically it's 4 years active, or 4 years active, 4 years into the IRR, or 6 years in the reserve. 6 years in the reserve or 2 years into the IRR. It can be broken up. We have 5x3 contracts, but just understand that the 8-year obligation is going to be broken up differently, and this is where your recruiter will explain which options are going to be best in that type of situation. Is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, talk about that IRR.
With that being said and stuff, sometimes your contract depends on what job you actually select. So the training that you receive and stuff, if it's a long type of AIT or training for the job that you select, your contract is usually a little bit longer when it comes to active duty. When it comes to, let me give you an example. If you want to be an x-ray technician or things of that nature, your contract is, the average is usually between 3 to 4 years, but those jobs and others tend to be a little bit longer. So just understand that, hey, whatever job that you do select and you qualify for, that, hey, how it actually works. Now let's go over the IRR portion. When it comes to the IRR, it's basically the inactive reserve. And basically just saying, hey, I finished my contract of serving active duty for 3 or 4 years, and now I'm at a standpoint, where do I go from this standpoint? Or where do I go from there? So basically you're going to be held over, they're going to have your name, they're going to have your information, they're going to get in touch with you at least once or twice a year. And it's basically to let you know, hey, are you okay, everything is fine, no problems, no issues. And if a situation ever do come up where they need you in your particular job at MOS, they can give you a call and say, hey, we need you for this tasking, for this skill set, because of the job qualification that you do have. Now, you're not really a part of a unit, and you don't really report to anybody, but you are a part of a pool of those who are qualified for the job that you're in, and this is giving us a heads up or hands-on situation where we can control what's going on if we're ever lacking in anything. Anyone have any additional on that?
Perfect. Yep. There it is.
So again, IRR is individual ready reserve, and it's just like the Gray Sergeant here said. It's for those individuals that there are various reasons why soldiers would transfer into the IRR. Let's say, for example, they're finished with their contractual obligation and they just want to be at the ready. So it's soldiers that are in this control group, and they're always at the ready. Again, like the sergeant said, they're not part of any particular unit, but let's say they do over time want to be affiliated with the unit, then that's when you would actually have a career counselor like myself during that time when we're calling to just make sure that your records are up to date and things of that nature, that you're doing okay. We would then ask you at that time if you ever had an interest in transferring into a reserve unit. And there's many opportunities that come with that. There's reclassification, the opportunity to reclass, the opportunity to regain some of those benefits that you tend to lose when you do transfer into the IRR, such as commissary benefits or medical insurance. So there are a lot of opportunities that you tend to lose when you transfer to the IRR, but you're still a soldier, meaning you still have to be at the ready. Okay? So I'm going to get into a question that comes from our Go Army Facebook page. And it's Jesse Parker, and Jesse is asking, what do I need to do to get ready for basic? And I believe we did cover that. There's a couple of things, but actually she said she's leaving for basic training in 2 weeks. Wow. So it sounds like you really joined and you're at the ready. So is there anything that she can do right now, since she has 2 weeks after leaving from the military entrance processing station, 2 weeks, what can she do right now to be best prepared?
You got to do those last 2 weeks of prep, dude.
Okay. Know your soldier's creed.
Yep.
I'll make it easier for you. Everybody's going to be stumbling through it, and you're going to look pretty high speed. Know your general orders. Like I said, you should be physically ready at this point, I would hope, if you got two weeks to go. But if you got a couple weeks to just do some push-ups and sit-ups and do some running, I would do that just to keep the muscles and the tendons and everything loose so you're ready to go. Just research read about it. Read about some experiences that other people have had and things that they've done to make life easier on them. Learn how to roll a t-shirt the way that we like to roll t-shirts and roll socks, and make sure you got all the stuff that you need for your personal hygiene and everything like that. A lot of your stuff you're not going to be able to have because your personal stuff will keep for you locked up until you're done. But just make sure you have all your personal hygiene stuff and just read about it. That's really all I can tell you. You got 2 weeks to go. You should be ready, right, Jesse?
I'll finish that up too.
Yeah, just to add a couple things to that, he brought a couple points to my mind. Definitely, if you haven't gotten with your recruiter already, get that packing list for what you're going to need for basic training, what is allowed and what's not allowed, because you don't want to take things that you're not going to be allowed to have or need, and you don't want to be missing something that you should have, like stationery. You want to be able to write home, you want to get letters in basic training, well, you're going to need some stationery. I know that you're going to have your cell phone here and there, maybe sometimes, but you know, you're going to want to be able to communicate in between those times if you're doing a bad job. So,
Yeah. Write letters.
write letters.
Doggone it,
Write letters. Your grandpa did it. You should be doing it too.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Your
You know.
family will appreciate it.
Definitely. And if you haven't, if you happen to be in that situation where you haven't started anything physical yet, you just signed up right away and you got 2 weeks of basic training, you need to start getting over that period. It takes a body about 2 weeks to get over soreness from initially working out. So if you can get that soreness out of you, do that.
Hey, Facebook, we really appreciate all the love that you're giving us. We want to give a couple of shout-outs to Makia Merrick, who's made the decision to join our ranks upon her 17th birthday. So big shout-out to you. John Monroe, you thanking us for your service. We thank you for your support. So thank you. And Gene Brownie, hey, he said he's going to the gym right now.
Yep.
So I guess the great drill sergeant over there got to him.
I got more PT stuff real quick.
Okay.
All right, got some more advice? All right. Jen, hopefully you're listening up, Jen.
One more thing. You're going to be doing what's called ruck marching. Okay, that means you are going to be basically walking at a fast pace over terrain with weight on your back. We have a rucksack. It's basically an Army backpack. That's all it is. So if you're preparing for basic training, go out, get a backpack on. Just any backpack is fine. Just put it up high on your back and just go walking. Try to go walking in boots, some kind of hiking boot or something other than shoes, because your feet and your hips and your legs are going to have to get used to walking around with lots of gear. And that's, if you're not used to it, then it's going to be longer for you to condition your body when you get here. So go out and do it. Start out, just do a mile, do a couple miles, something like that. Before the end of basic training, you're going to end up doing somewhere in the realm of 9, 10, 12 miles. So just make sure that you can go that far if you're able to find the time to do it. Miss 2 weeks doesn't have enough time if she hasn't already, but for the rest of you that are preparing, make sure you get out there and do some hiking.
So in our ever-changing world, being a soldier, we're used to being adapting, being versatile, and when it comes to a lot of policies, things are constantly changing as well. So we do have a really good question from Noah Spencer, who wants us to talk about the tattoo policy. Tattoos, yes, they are allowed. However, I'm going to allow the drill sergeant to get with this because the tattoo policy does constantly change. So for the latest and greatest, take it away, Sar.
Let me jump on this one real quick.
Go ahead.
Because before you go to the drill,
I'll pick it up if we miss it.
I'll jump on this one. Okay, so with the tattoo policies, yes, he did state that you can't have tattoos. Now, you do understand we do have restrictions. One of the restrictions is when you're having a tattoo, it cannot be displaced on your wrist and above. So basically from your wrist all the way to your hand, it will not be displayed. Now, also that also goes with your neck. Neck and above, that is a no-go too. So if you ever decide, hey, I want to get a tattoo, I want to join, but it might interfere with what I have going on, just make sure that if you do get a tattoo, and this is going by now bylaws, that, hey, you can get it, no problem, no issues, but at the same time, keep it off your hands, your wrists, your neck, and your face. Other than that, you should be pretty good. And make sure whatever tattoo you do get, it has taste. Because if you have something on there that's going to offend somebody or put somebody in an awkward situation, that's going to be reviewable and that's going to be subject to yes or no. So you don't want to put yourself in that situation, okay?
That's what I was going to say. You cannot have indecent, racist, extremist, or gang-related tattoos. Don't even think about it. Even if there's even a question in your mind, if you had a weird part of your life where you went through a phase or something like that, you can't do it. If one of us, I was a sheriff's deputy, a lot of drill sergeants have a lot of experience, street-type experience. We know what the tattoos look like and what they are. So make sure that your tattoos are clean and decent, like Sergeant said here.
Let me add one more thing to that, because I know a couple of you are thinking, okay, face, neck, I'm good. Don't have anything on your scalp. either. Don't put them behind your ear, that kind of situation right there, because and think you're going to cover it up with makeup or something like that. It's going to get found out. Don't do it.
So we're going to switch gears just a little bit because we spoke a lot about the qualifications to become a soldier and initially what it's like to prepare. But what about those soldiers that are actually in right now? We have a great question here. We have a soldier that's headed to officer basic course as an Army JAG reserve. All right, smart. We actually need JAG because, well, I won't get into that one. But the question is, is there any advice? And I haven't really had many JAG officers come to me, but I will tell you this. Because JAG is one of those specialized officer branches, when you speak to a career counselor, make sure that you're speaking to an officer accessions career counselor. They are the ones that specifically deal with the officers. Now, it's not to take anything away from the enlisted, it's just that the specialty branches have specific certifications that they must have or that they must be able to attain. So speaking to a career counselor that specializes only with those specialty branches is what's going to be best.
Right. Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Okay. So also happens that my wife is a lawyer, and she did look into the JAG program previously, the Judge Advocate Corps. And you obviously know if you're going to become a JAG officer that you've got your law degree already. You're going in as a direct commission. You're going to go to the 8 to 12 week school for military justice professionals. Over in Virginia, you're going to learn about military justice on top of civil justice, like you've already learned. One of the things I see a lot, I ran a deployment station in Fort Bliss for a year, and I saw a lot of professionals come in and out of there. As someone who direct commissions, meaning you've never been in the Army before the first day and you're pinning on captain rank or something like that, is get with your unit. If you have contact information for the unit that you're going to be part of as a reserve officer, you know, ask them the basic questions. How do I wear the uniform? What goes where? Those sorts of things, so you're not fumbling over those sorts of deals on first day. Because a lot of these other soldiers went through basic training and learned everything from a drill sergeant. You're going to be a civilian coming off the street and be expected to soldier, quote unquote, on the first day. So obviously most of the time you're going to be concerning yourself with the law, but the rest of the time you're in a uniform, you're going to want to get with your unit to have them explain the basics of soldiery to you. All right?
On the topic of education, because obviously becoming a JAG officer, just like any of those specialty jobs, requires a high degree of civilian education. So a really good question that Danielle Martin is asking is, how does going to school in the Army Reserve work? And I'm going to answer this based off of my real story. I joined as a senior in high school and already had my college application submitted. And prior to leaving for basic training, I already knew what college I was going to go to. So upon returning from initial entry training, that's exactly what I did. I began my college career as a warrior citizen. The way that it works is, as long as I'm in school, whether part-time, full-time, whatever it may be, I was receiving monthly payments using my Select Reserve Montgomery GI Bill. I was also using tuition assistance at the time, and some of those rules changed, but what I'm getting at is I was able to basically be that soldier 1 week in a month, 2 weeks of the year, like the commercial says, and I was a full-time student at Stony Brook University. Got to give a shout out, Stony Brook. So for those Giants fans, number 45, William Ty, there you go. But again, to answer the question, you can be a soldier in the reserve and a full-time student in college. One does not take away from the other. In fact, it actually enhances you. And imagine being able to balance your school workload, but then taking those time management skills that you acquired or was enhanced while you was in initial entry training. It can actually enable you to be a greater student while you're in college, being able to balance all of these different workloads. So that's another way of looking at it. All right, is there anything that anyone wants to add?
You want to take the one? Okay. With that being said, do understand that the training that you receive from basic training to AIT is actually worth college credit hours too. So it's your job and obligation to get to that VA rep or a representative in the school so they can look at your Army transcript and verify what training that you actually received, so it's going to help you get to your degree a lot sooner and faster. Do understand too that, hey, you went to basic training, you went to AIT, why not take advantage of the benefits that you have earned? Never put yourself off or put things on hold in regards to what you want to do in life. Have a plan, have a goal, stick to it, and you'll look up, time will pass, and you'll have what you want, when you want, and at the same time, you'll be where you want to be in life.
Right, and to add to that, if you go to basic training in AIT, you haven't gone to college yet, you go through some Army courses, whatnot, what he was talking about is your ATARS transcripts, which is basically your Army training transcript. You can get an official copy and you can give it to your college. Different colleges accept different levels of Army training, but we're actually working right now as a whole in the Army to get universities to accept more Army training, Army courses, Army classes, and that will help you get further and further closer to your goal of that college degree. Also, that's where we're going as a whole in the Army and the Army Reserve, is that, you know, we're multifaceted. So not only are you a soldier, but you're an educated soldier, and that's the future of our armed forces, especially against any future threats that we have in the world. We not only have to be good at our job in the Army, but also be educated. So there's tons and tons of ways that you can pursue your education while in the Army. There's so many online colleges now, and ones that accept a lot of military credits and so forth. So even if you don't get your college done before you join the Army, or you're trying to do it while you're in the Army or in the Army Reserve, there's so many ways to do it. A lot of colleges out there that will help you. And they all have VA reps, and they have people that are assigned at the college to help you navigate the process of using your GI Bill and being able to apply for scholarships and things like that. So that's where we really lie in the future of the Army and Army Reserve. We are warrior poets, basically. We're Renaissance men and women, and that's the kind of soldier that we need to face our future threats, because the rest of the world is doing it, so we're going to do it too. We're going to be the best. No one's going to beat us. I'll tell you that right now.
So Jose Lopez, you asked this question, and we love hearing it. What do we think MREs taste like? You know, MREs, when I first came in, no. Right now, I'm seeing M&Ms coming out of their packets, Jolly Ranchers, Skittles. Like, where was this back in 2001?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the MREs, hey, it's an acquired taste. I have no problem with them.
Not at all. Not at all. Honestly, I've got plenty of favorites. There is spaghetti. Spaghetti is my all-time favorite, and it is good. Mix it with the cheese spread. Awesome.
That's with the meatballs, right?
Yeah, with the meatballs. Yeah, you got to have it. You guys? Good?
Jalapeno and cheese.
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno and cheese.
Instant magic.
Facebook and Instagram, we're loving all the questions that's coming in. Keep them going. We're just going to try to keep up with what you're sending us. And let's see.
Jenkins, can I ask a question?
Oh, certainly, Joe Sarn.
For those of you that are joining or thinking about joining, I would like to ask you a question and give us a response. What do you want to get out of the Army? Why do you want to join the Army? And then we'll answer some questions, and when you guys give us responses, we'll talk about it.
Sounds good.
So I think that Drill Sergeant actually tackled this particular question. Someone asked, and it didn't come through, we just had a system error, but they asked, why the Army and not any other branch? And as the great Drill Sergeant said, you know, the Army is all about winning. That's all we do. We're the best, we're brightest, we're the most diverse. You know, we just kick butt. But we are the most adaptable, yes. So how would you want to answer it?
Want to add to that? Absolutely. I mean, I joined the Army specifically for a lot of reasons, but one of my favorites was the fact that it is the largest force. It's a land-based force. That was the kind of thing that I wanted to concern myself with. You know, obviously the other areas are necessary, but you know, you've got over 1 million brothers and sisters in this service, all professionals from top to bottom, and it was just incredibly exciting to me.
Another thing is, with us being the Army, if you actually put the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines together, we're still bigger than them. The pros that we do have is we have up to 150 jobs, different job availability. Our thing is, you know what, let's put you in control of your life. You know, we have those who are interested in certain things, and they're qualified for it. So we actually could put you in something that you love and that you like. You won't even look at it as a job. You see it as a career. And as for the Army and stuff, we're going to ensure that, you know, you get your qualifications, because as you grow, we grow. And the stronger you are, the stronger we are. Yeah. So we're trying to be the best. Matter of fact, we are the best. And the only way we can stay on top is to keep adapting, evolving, and getting better.
You said it. We're the cutting edge. We're mixing the education and the training and the fighting ability and everything else together in one. We're constantly evolving, and just the way the world is changing and moving and shaking and creating new things and creating new jobs, we're doing the same thing. So it's getting better every day, and we only get better. And when we make mistakes, we realize that we make mistakes, and we just improve on them, because that's what life is about, is making mistakes and then fixing them. And you know, we're constantly evolving. So pick the Army.
So we asked the question, what is it that you want? And some of the answers, these are beautiful. Matthew Burke, he said he wants to join because he wants structure in his life. He wants to learn and be the best person that he can be. He wants to make a difference. We say who to that one. Who?
Absolutely who.
Nashlie Abigail, she wants to join because she wants a better life with better opportunities and give her family the best. It's the strict life, and she wants the strict life. So, hey, some people want structure, and that's a great motivator for them, so we understand exactly what you mean.
You get all the strict you want.
And Steffi Fernandez, she wants to join the Army as it's always been a dream. Wants to add change, be more disciplined, and serve their country in the best way that she can. So yes, being patriotic, definitely, we certainly understand what you mean by that. Mm-hmm. So we've had a couple of questions, not questions, but the topic on opportunities. You know, our advantage in being the largest means that we have the most opportunities compared to our other sister services. But a good question that came up is, if you're currently a PFC in the Army, if you're currently a private first class in the United States Army Reserve and just got out of AIT, can they possibly switch to active duty or sign up for deployments? So it's a two-part question. Can you sign up for deployments? There is a way to make yourself to volunteer for active duty service work, and that may allow you to attach yourself to a particular unit that may be deploying. There's ways of going about that. You have a one-on-one with your career counselor, and they can help you navigate on how to do that. But in terms of switching over to active duty, there are some specific guidelines that must be met, and I'm going to have the Gray Sergeant right here explain what those guidelines are.
Okay, so let's go over some of the guidelines. One thing you need to do is, once you get back to your actual reserve unit, get with your chain of command. Sit down and talk to them. So a lot of times when people go to basic training AIT, they change their mind. It's like, you know what, this is what I like, this is what I want to do. Why don't I just do this at a full-time endeavor? So, which is fine, no problems, no issues. You're going to do something that's going to be called a, was it 4187? Mm-hmm. And on this paperwork, it's going to state, hey, this is the reason why I decided to change and want to go to active duty. Then you'll get with your career counselor or recruiter, and we'll do something that's, it's a form that's called a 368. And this is basically a letter of release. So basically what it is we're going to have your information on there, our information, and then we're going to send it up to your chain. This process is usually not a quick process. It usually takes between 2 to 4 months, but it's actually going to make it all the way up to the first Star General. And then from that standpoint, it actually be signed and sent back, and you can be released into active duty. So it's a great program. Reserves and active duty goes hand in hand. They're like brothers and sisters. So if you ever decide, hey, I want to change my mind, this is what I want to do, I started one way, I'm going to another way, no problems, no issues. Just get with one of the career counselors or the recruiters, and we'll make sure we can make that happen for you, okay?
I got something to add to that.
Sure.
So to answer this question another way, we're a perfect example of this. All of us are in the United States Army Reserve. We all started that way. But instead of switching over to regular Army active duty, there are things that we can do, such as the Active Guard Reserve Program, active duty service work, and even the IMA program. So a perfect example, again, is us, literally us. After I graduated from college, when I made the decision to continue my service, I spoke to my career counselor and asked them, how can I go regular Army? And that's when I was informed about the AGR program. And basically the AGR program is, you are the full-time support for the reserve component. So I am a Army Reserve soldier on active duty service, excuse me, on active duty status, just like Sergeant Henry here. But it's not just AGR, there's also ADOS opportunities, and I'm going to let our NCO of the year explain how he actually went from being a reserve soldier on active duty service work.
Absolutely. So ADOS, Active Duty Operational Support, is what we're talking about. This is actually my second ADOS tour of my career. I've been a reservist for over 6 years now. The first time they needed soldiers to support a deployment center for individuals. A lot of times we would deploy as units, but this was a center to prepare individuals to deploy, doctors, canine handlers, that sort of thing. And they needed people to run that center. So I volunteered for that for a year, got plucked out of my civilian life where I was a commercial insurance agent, went to Fort Bliss, Texas, and ran that mission for a year full time. And then when it was over, I went right back to my regular life back in California. This past year, I competed in multiple Best Warrior competitions, which essentially think of it like a decathlon of events for soldier skills. Everything from assembling radios to performing first aid, shooting, moving under fire, those sorts of things. And essentially I ended up winning at the entire Army level. So a reward for that was getting to work for the Sergeant Major of the Army, which is the senior enlisted member of the entire Army, at his office in the Pentagon, where I'm currently serving in Washington, D.C. Throwing hatchets. That was one of the events.
So I want to give a couple of shout-outs here. Shu Stapleton, thank you. All right, I'm not going to kiss none of these guys, but we do thank you. Timothy Poland, you'll be 18 in June. Can't wait to join the U.S. Airborne. You actually asked a question with that as well. Any advice? So first off, thank you for wanting to join. Second off, U.S. Airborne. Any advice for
I don't know. I'm not airborne.
Timothy? Well, I would say this. Airborne is considered one of those the specialty skills. So of course it's going to be about being physically fit, being able to meet those qualifications to do that schooling. I want to say that I'm not airborne as well. However, I have served with a bunch of soldiers that are airborne, and one of the things that they do constantly say is run. All they do is run, run, run. So if airborne is one of the things that you want to definitely take advantage of, just make sure that you're physically capable of always being able to run. Want to continue with the shout-outs. Katie Powell. Yep, you just wanted a shout-out. There you go, Katie. So we just got a surprise visit from here.
Okay.
Hey, carry on, carry on.
How you doing, sir?
So what's going on here today?
Good news, sir.
Sergeant?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, good to see you.
Nice to see you
Good
too,
to
sir.
see you. So, what do you have here? Hey, battle buddy, come on in here.
So, all right, Sergeant Major.
Hey there, Sergeant. Good to see you again. How you doing, Sergeant Major?
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. Welcome, Sergeant Major.
So Facebook, if you're wondering what's happening, we have our Brigadier General Markham and Command Sergeant Major Matthews with us, and they're with us with the 2007 All-American, the 2017 U.S. Army All-American Bowl.
Yeah, there you go.
Go Army. All right.
So
We're going to win this one for sure. 100% chance the Army's going to go 2-0 this year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right on.
So now that we have some of our top-ranking soldiers here, any questions that you want to ask, definitely ask us. And what we're going to say is, sir, if you want to take a seat, Sergeant Major, if you want to take a seat, and what I'll do is I'll find a question for you.
All right, give us a tough one, okay? And everything's open. We're live, right?
Yes, we are, sir.
Okay. It's not Facebook Live.
So, sir, I'm going to throw a officer question to you. Do you recommend being warrant officer?
All
And if
right.
you could explain the difference between commission and warrant as well.
Yeah, sure. So, Javon, boy, that's a tough last name. So, Javon, thank you very much. That's a very intelligent, well thought out question, and I appreciate it. So, you know, the answer to any question is, well, that depends, right? So let me tell you why that depends. It depends, A, where you are in your life and your career, and B, you know, what do I want to do? Okay, so warrant officers are one of two things. They're either the technical expert in their craft, a mechanic, a maintenance warrant officer, a cook, AG. I mean, shoot, there's more warrant officers specialties than I have time to explain. As an aviator, about 80% of our pilots in Army aviation are warrant officers. They are our tactical experts. They are our weapon system. They take the most complex machines in this world into the most challenging environments and bring the fight to the enemy as our weapon systems, our tactical experts. Officers lead larger formations. Okay, officers have to have a broader understanding of the Army, of tactics doctrine. Spend more time sometimes on administrative duties, and in most cases have a little broader education in management, leadership, and always a higher education. But most of our warrant officers have at least a doctorate degree. Heck, we have warrant officers with masters. They are a highly professional, respected member of the U.S. Army, and I've been working with them for 30 years, and I love them. So that just depends. Look at both, but being a warrant officer is a wonderful, wonderful decision in life. Anything to add there, buddy?
Absolutely.
You know some warrant officers.
Now, there is also the opportunity for enlisted soldiers to go to officer or the warrant officer route. Once you have some time under your belt as an enlisted soldier, if that opportunity presents itself to become the technical expert in your trade craft, such as maintenance or AG, or even on the special forces side or our aviators, you can easily transition by submitting a packet for warrant officer candidate, and if you get selected, you end up going to the warrant officer candidate school and getting promoted to WO1. Currently, your enlisted soldiers do not require a college education to enter the program. It's once you get up to a certain level that's required. I'm not the expert on the warrant officer side, but I think it's WO3 is where you need to have a accredited level of college, whether it's an associate's or a bachelor's. But our recruiters can help you with that process and give you the exact details for it. On the commissioned officer side, our soldiers that already have a degree, they can also submit applications for direct commissioning, and if they get accepted through that program, you just got to go through your officer basic candidate school, or OBC, officer basic course, and complete that, and you'll end up starting off your career as a commissioned officer as a 01.
Well, outstanding. Hey, folks, thanks for having us on here today, and thanks for everyone for being out there. I tell you what, it means a lot to me to have this opportunity. It's an honor to speak with you, and I thank you for all you do for this nation. If you're in the Army or if you're not in the Army, come on board and keep pounding, as the commander of the Army Reserve would say, and proud to serve. And tune in 12 o'clock Saturday the 7th. Watch the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. It will be entertaining, and I know you'll all love it. So appreciate it, team.
What channel is it on, guys?
NBC. All right. Anything else?
Good to go, sir. Appreciate you coming in and joining us on Facebook Live.
Outstanding. Good to be here.
Great time. Always a great surprise.
Guys, thanks for all your hard work.
How about that, Facebook, huh? Huh? Always getting the cameos. Appreciate it, Sergeant Major. Wow. That's not too bad. It's not every day you get your task force command team just drop in on you on Facebook Live, but, we're soldiers, we're adaptable, we deal with it, and it was awesome, right?
So Matthew asked an interesting question. What is your personal favorite rank? Personally, what's your favorite rank that you've held and why you've enjoyed it? So it's great that that timing just happened. If you're a commissioned officer, you strive to earn that diamond. that star, to become that general level. And if you're enlisted like us, you strive to be the sergeant major, which is the highest level on the enlisted side. So everyone may have different ranks throughout their career. I can tell you my 3 favorite ranks for me: specialist, which is pay grade E4. And the reason for that is the specialist is the one that is the jack of all trades. They know the art of the sham, so to say, but they do know their job really well. My next favorite rank would be staff sergeant, because at that level, you start to learn a lot of the things outside of your technical job, and you start to learn more about the staff operations side of the house. And then I would say my 3rd favorite rank is going to be that of first sergeant. First sergeant is the one that's going to be that leader, that's going to lead those platoon sergeants, those squad leaders to be great. They're considered the tip of the spear, the lifeblood of that unit. So for me, it's specialist, staff sergeant, and first sergeant.
Okay. Sounds good. Actually, so right now I'm a sergeant first class, pay grade E7, and actually sergeant first class is my favorite rank. I know that sounds sort of self-serving, but the reason why is I enjoyed the heck out of staff sergeant too, don't get me wrong. But I really like sergeant first class because, especially as a drill sergeant, sergeants first class are the senior leaders, or they're the senior trainers in any formation. They're the ones that are really the ground pounders, boots to the ground kind of guys when it comes to training the rest of the formation, making sure that everybody's up to snuff on what they're supposed to be doing in their war-fighting operational job. So, you know, I love, obviously, from a training standpoint, seeing those light bulbs coming on, seeing teams being formed and cohesion really tightening and coming together to form one team, and that's my favorite part about it.
So our first class was pretty good. Not bad. But I think I'm going to have to go with E5, the sergeant. Distinguishing yourself from your peers. You're going from E4 to E5. I am an NCO. I'm in charge. People respect me at another level. They're separating, hey, the buddy-buddy program to, hey, I'm in control. I got this situation. And you're also looking at looking over people's careers. So that has a big impact on those who fall underneath you, and at the same time, you want to be in that position where, hey, you know what, people can depend on me, this is my job, this is what I do, and I'm a professional. So let me pass to the drill and see what he says. I like what he got on his chest, though.
You like that?
I like that.
I'm going to say Sergeant Major. My bank account will thank you. Next question.
So we have an interesting question from Eric Lanford. And Eric wants to know, what's the difference between active duty, National Guard, and reserve? So I'll start it off and I'll pass it to my battle buddies here. Understand that in the Army, there's generally 2 components. You have the regular Army, which is active duty, and you have the reserve component. Now, the reserve component is broken down into 2 parts. The federal side, which we all are part of, which is the United States Army Reserve, and you have the state side, which is the National Guard. So it doesn't matter which component you fall within, your uniform is always going to say U.S. Army. However, there are differences between regular Army and, say, the reserve component. Under the reserve component, you have Title 10, which would put you on federal status, and then you have Title 32 that will place you on a state status. So there's more to elaborate on that.
Jump on that one. Okay, so when it comes to the National Guard, Reserve, and active duty, do understand the Reserve and National Guard are basically the same thing. One is funded by the state, and the other one is funded by the federal government. With that being said, the National Guard also provide more job opportunities. When it comes to these opportunities, they provide the combat side of the house. So those who want to be 11 Bravos, 11 X-rays, you have the opportunity to do so on the National Guard side. The reserve side is a little different. So they can only offer up to 120 jobs, but the combat side is actually taken off. So you're more of a supporting element when it comes to that particular piece. With the state portion, they're training you to do a job for the state, and they have other missions and stuff that goes on. And for the reserve, it's the same way, but also we're included with the active duty when it comes to taking over certain situations to give them breaks, and also to make sure that we understand our jobs.
That's the official answer. Here's my drill sergeant answer. There is no difference. we are all the same. We all fight for the same team. We all have the same mission. We all have the same goals. In fact, the Army is moving towards a multi-compo, we call it multi-component situation, where reservists and National Guardsmen are training with active duty soldiers and vice versa. So we're all one team, we're all one fight. And that's the way it's always going to be from now on.
Yeah, and I can reinforce that, what Drill Sergeant Moldovan said. I have been both a reserve soldier and an active duty soldier for multiple years. Both. There's really no difference between one soldier or another. It just comes down to what unit you're a part of.
All right, folks. Well, we spent about a good quality hour with you, and I know there was a lot of you that had some questions, and we just definitely want to say you can field your questions to us on Facebook, but remember, we're all here. Some of you may wonder, well, what are you doing here today? Well, today, throughout this whole week, it's all about supporting those outstanding high school football players and band members, the top of the nation. And if you tune in this Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on NBC, tune in and see the nation's top high school footballers and the nation's top band members and color guard, viewing the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. Again, if you want to give a shout out to any of the players or band members, remember to use hashtag Army Bowl. That's hashtag Army, B-O-W-L. And I'm sure that we'll be able to see it, and the players will be able to see it. And just give a shout out to your favorite team. Well, that's all that we have for now. Again, we thank you for your support, and Army Strong.
Go Army! Let's go! Let's get it!